LGBTQ people face high rates of violence. Indigenous people also face high rates of violence. When we combine those two communities together, those rates are increased for our two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, pansexual, non-binary, gender non-conforming, gender fluid people. And that's what they are. They are people. We have forgotten sometimes to be kind. We are taught to be kind at a very young age. And sometimes we forget to be kind to others. I hear our speakers today and our leadership. I thank your leadership for being here. I'm not a chief, but I am a queen. Right. And I want you all to remember those queens and those kings who have come before us, who have tried to create a safe space for all of us. We have to remember those uncles and those aunties who might be a little bit different than us. But there's no different for them. They still breathe the same air that we breathe. They still drink the same water that we drink. Their blood is the same color as ours. We have to remember to keep our community members safe. I'm so thankful to have one of my nephews here. He is a kind man. And all of my boys are kind men. He was so kind, he knew that I needed gloves. So he was kind enough to give me his gloves, and now his fingers are frozen. But that's okay. They'll grow back, maybe. But we have to remember to be kind. We have to remember to be gentle, because there's so many of us that we lose. Working in Toronto, I just moved back home, but I was able to work with two-spirit LGBTQ youth who are living on the margins, who are facing homelessness and housing insecurity on a very regular basis. And it was hard to do drop-ins every week because some of them didn't show up. And in the back of my mind, I had to keep on thinking that they were okay, that they were safe, that they had a meal to eat, that they had a safe place to call home, even if it was just for that night. When I got into this work, it wasn't just because there was a need, but I was seeing people dying, young kids dying of suicide and violence, only because they were different, only because there wasn't enough people to be kind to them, or to be gentle to them, or to see them as people. And that every week in the news, it was another name and another number, and that number kept on getting smaller. 18 years old, 16 years old, 12 years old, 9 and 10 years old. Kids dying. Because of what? We are not born racist or homophobic or transphobic. We learn that along the way, and we have to change that value. I was raised knowing that we had to respect others, that we have to love others, and that we have to try and respect them and see them where they're at, even if we don't understand where they're coming from. But we can understand that they are a person and that they have needs. And we have to think of the needs for others, because when we lose one person, we don't just use a youth or a woman or a girl. We can be losing an elder. We could be losing a drummer. We could be losing a leader, a helper. So I ask you today to be kind and to be gentle with yourselves. Take care of yourselves and be safe. As we're doing our rally, make sure you're looking after our little ones. Make sure you're keeping at the pace of our elders, so we don't leave anybody behind. And in Wolf Clan, and so we know that we don't leave anybody behind. And we need to make our circles bigger, because there's room enough for everyone. And if we're leaving people out, then our circles have gaps, and that's not helpful for anyone. So be kind to each other. Be kind to yourselves. Ask questions. Google that shit. And I'm back here now at home, and I'm so happy to be back home marching with all of you. I've been seeing these marches happening for a few years, and I need to be back with my people. And I'm so happy to be here. My feet are frozen, but my heart is warm. MMIWG2S, thank you.